And we should be live. Hello to the people who are watching the VOD. Hello to the people who are watching live. How are you doing? How's things? How has everybody's week been? It's been a full week. I know, can you believe it? Yeah, how's everybody? How are you doing? How is life? Let me just check that it's actually displaying on YouTube because it's not great at that. Live now. Cool. Well, at least it says I'm actually live. Hopefully, it might actually tell some people. That'd be rare. That'd be very rare. We're live on YouTube. We're good. Let's check on Discord. That one. Okay. Awesome. Hello. How is everybody doing? How's things? How's life? Hi Ish, how you doing, man? How's things? What's it doing? Oh, a pre-roll ad on YouTube. That was new. Interesting. Was it a skippable one at least? I don't have, like, as far as I'm aware, my stream monetization settings aren't any different from my standard video monetization settings. So, yeah. Hello, Mark. How are you doing? Hello, Mr. Fat Scotsman. How are you doing? How's life? How's things? How's your week been? How's lockdown, quarantine, whatever you want to call it? How's like, yeah, life? We both went to the same sixth form college. Nice. What did you do? What courses did you do? Is what I was meant to say there. Oh, I thought they were going to give you an extra suitcase of cash this week. Oh, if only. If only ish. That would be utterly fantastic. But yeah, not quite. Actually, I was doing my 2019-2020 tax return the other day, and I realized that YouTube AdSense alone only accounts for, like, I want to say a fifth to a quarter of my yearly income. So you really have to let's say diversify your income revenue streams. That's the one. If you wanna live on YouTube. Craig, hi, how you doing? Hello, Ryan. I haven't been here for a while because of work Call of Duty night. Fair. Is that not on tonight, or are you just here because they're late? um, yeah. I've had quite a lot of stuff delivered this week, actually. I gotta chase that Raid Shadow Legends money. Yes. Sponsoring this. No, 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 no. Been a bit weird. Been furloughed from work for the past 2 weeks. Fair, fair. But I'm now rank 155 in Warzone. Great use of time. Quality. Oh dear. Nice one. Yeah, fair. Hope you have an enjoyable hour here. That's not, another hour of Warzone. James, hi there. Hope all is well. Been working home for 7 weeks. Crikey. Great videos. Thank you very much. I hope they're entertaining enough to keep you occupied for the rather long amount of time you've been, well, at home. I've been bored and bought a drone. Nice. Which one? Januzek, hello. How you doing? Hello, Subarovsky. How you doing? Also, hello, Chris. How's things? Mark, your AS Electronics. Nice. Yeah, I'm mostly blacked out. Basically, anything from like college backwards. So my apologies. I don't even remember much about meeting my partner. So That one always goes down well. But yeah, I think the general consensus of people is that they've been bored at home, which is understandable. Luckily, we're all smart and have video games to play. Things are good. Working from 9:30 tomorrow. Can't wait. What job did you get? Also upgraded custom water cooling loop on my main PC. Nice. What was the spec on that one again? I don't remember off the top of my head. I want to say Ryzen, but there's a butcher. Are they still open? Just a cheapo one for the start. Battle Shark, £50. Okay, right. Like a sort of hobby drone, let's say, or a what you call it? Like a little fun flyer in the house, in the garden kind of one. Yeah, fair. I have a couple of these Hubsan H107, H104s. They're actually really fun. They're absolutely tiny, as you can tell. They can do tricks. They're not the best, but and they also break very easily. This is now my second one, and they just don't fly straight ever again. I've tried new propellers. I've tried like so much, but yeah, they just don't fly level after a while. But yeah, they're good fun, and they're like £20 or something. And spare parts are plentiful. Osprey, please. Go ahead. How do you know if your GPU is broken? So normally you have either a error code on your motherboard if your system won't boot, or you have display artifacting, which can be anything from like flashes on screen of like black dots or whatever. It can be different colors. It can be the whole screen is the wrong color. It can be lines showing up. Or you can just have instability in games, although that one is a lot harder to work out. Wow, the chat's busy. I'm super jelly of all the people that get paid to stay at home. I'm hoping my job lasts through past all this nonsense. That is fair. Yeah, I mean, while it is a pain to be stuck at home and bored, you are still getting 80% of your pay if you're in the UK to be stuck at home and bored. So yeah, I can understand that. Yes, shop's not too busy. I've gone around 20 weekly deliveries to over 200. Wow, that's mental. Ba 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 ba. Crikey, that's a lot. So where am I? Andy, have an NZXT S340 and the original fans are so loud. Any upgrade suggestions? So one, how do you have them connected? And two, there are a number of great fans. If you want to go super cheap, then I think Arctic P12 PWMs or whatever are still, you still buy a 4-pack for like 20 quid or something. As you go up the price scale, I would generally say Noctuas are probably the still the sort of golden standard. Corsair does have some nice ones, although they tend to be about the same price as Noctuas, and so unless you care about lighting, I would go with Noctua. And yeah, also like Chris says, the Be Quiet Silent wings might not be bad though. Wanted to see more of your reviews on LG IPS monitors. So yeah, I would love to. I need to get back in touch with LG. I've been trying, but they've changed PR agency like 6 times since I last spoke to them, so not sure. What else? I'm confused which of the new beefy CPUs and GPUs to pick. Any recommendations? Ideally, I would want to build that lasts for some time, be able to handle games in 3 or 4 years' time. Sure thing. So it kind of depends on what sort of budget you have. If you're going, it kind of sounds like you have an end goal in mind, and you're, you know, if I give you some suggestions, you can then work out if that price point is worth paying for, you know, whatever. But as a general recommendation, the Ryzen series of CPUs tend to be pretty fantastic, especially in terms of longevity, because even in 3 or 4 years' time, you'll be able to buy a used, say, 4th generation Ryzen for probably quite cheap, and you'll get a bit more performance gain from the same motherboard, which is the key point. You don't need to upgrade anything else. With that said, I think a sort of super long-term lasting type of system, I would say a 37 or 3800X CPU. And then in terms of graphics card, it also depends on the resolution you want to play. If you want to play at just 1080p high refresh rate, 1080p 144 Hz or more, then I think something along the RX 5600 XT kind of lines should be fine. If you want to play 1440p, then especially if you want this to last 3, 4, 5 years, you might want to go RTX 2070 Super verging on 1080, although a fantastic value for money card right now is the 5700 XT. So yeah, that would be my ballpark suggestion, irregardless of budget. I think you could probably scale a system with that sort of aspiration from about £1,000 up to, well, obviously limitless, but about £2,000 would be the upper bracket that I would generally recommend you. The chat decided to cull itself. Awesome. Thank you, 3D printing newbie. Best of luck finding one. Yeah, I think all of the AOC G2 series of monitors are just flying off the shelves like hotcakes at the moment, and so you might find it a bit difficult, I'm afraid. No. Also, OS Prey plays so my motherboard does display the VGA port as red. So are you talking about a oh Christ. Are you talking about a VGA port that's on your motherboard that is red, or are you talking about your graphics card having a VGA port? Because the 2070 does not have the debug LED, right? Right. So in that case, yes, there is. If your system is not booting with your graphics card, what CPU do you have? That's the main question. What do you think about the Opera gaming browser? So honestly, I don't care. I watched Linus's video on it. It didn't really blow me away as to something I felt I must have. I do use Opera. It's the standard version. I also use Vivaldi, Chrome, and Firefox. And yeah, I'm not that fussed. My system is booting, so I don't know if it's just a motherboard. So if it's booting, are you able to play games fine, or is it just your motherboard displaying a red light for a red debug light for your graphics card? Has anyone else had issues with NVIDIA Minecraft RTX drivers where the HDMI audio doesn't work, just no output? I'm afraid not. I think I have updated to the latest driver as of recently, but I have not. I have not played Minecraft RTX because I don't play Minecraft, and I also don't use NVIDIA HDMI audio. I suppose I technically use DisplayPort audio for the index, but that was working the last time I checked. Firefox is my favorite browser. Nice. I think I still prefer Chrome. But I like having the variety. Do you recommend ASUS RTX RG Strix cards? So there's nothing inherently wrong with them. They're not bad cards. They do tend to be very overpriced for no performance gains or generally feature gains over a number of other brands, including people like EVGA, who generally have pretty great support and tend to have pretty great cars as well. From what I understand, I haven't tested any, but yeah, that's my that would be my answer for that, I suppose. Curious Pizza. Hello, how you doing? Not long got a PG 43 UQ, but the ALMB doesn't look great and the overdrive settings need work. Is there anything that can be done, or am I hoping on an ASUS update? So if it's problems with the monitor's built-in settings, so I haven't tested that specific monitor itself, nor have I tested an ASUS monitor in a while, so I haven't had a play with their ALMB settings ever. So I can't give you an exact answer. I think waiting on an ASUS update is probably the let's say best hope for it. With that said, the what makes you say that the overdrive settings need work? Yeah. Have a look at this VRM cooling, Andy. Z490 is going to be hotter than my oven while baking. Nice. No, I can't talk about that. Well, actually, technically, I haven't signed an NDA, but I might need to in the coming days, so we'll see. Last time you explained how SSDs work. Can you explain how hard drives work? So I can give you a top level understanding. I need to look a little closer to give you a very in-depth explanation, but the long story short is that data is stored on spinning disks with read heads that actually intersect the disks. So the read heads can move in and out to read different sectors of those disks. There is a number of different techniques that you can use to read and write from them, and also a number of different techniques of how you store data on the what's called platters. But the long and short of it is that there's physical spinning, what we like to call spinning rust, with arms that have a read-write head on the tip of them, and they read from different sectors of the drive. And that's why the access times can be really slow, because there has to be there's a physically spinning disk and an arm that has to find its way to the start of the block and then read from there. Among many other things. Yeah. Settings 5 look setting 5 looks awful. 4 has overshoot. 3 shows too much blur. It is a VA panel, and 1 and 2 unusable blur, so need a 3.5 setting. Nice, yeah, fair. That's understandable. I'm guessing you have it on either 3 or 4 right now. If I had to guess, you probably have it on 4. So actually, I do have the AOC. Is it AG35 UCG, which is the £2,000 ultra wide with a fan in it, and it's this thick, and it's 35 inches and massive and wobbles like a tank. That is also a VA panel, and that does actually have overshoot as well on medium strength overdrive. So I think with a lot of those VA panels, they really are pushing the panel itself to the limit, and so I think it will have to be it will be quite difficult for them to adjust it to that sort of just right section. Oh, it doesn't let me delete. Hooded, hello. I'm looking for a decent, quiet mechanical keyboard. I would like micro keys and media controls. Any ideas? Ooh, so when you say quiet, do you mean would you prefer would you prefer having O-rings under there, which obviously give a slightly different typing feel, but do significantly quieten the experience? Um, otherwise, so it has the one that springs to mind is actually it's mechanical, but it's not quite mechanical. And I don't think it has macro keys in and of itself. So bear with me. The one that I really like is the Wu-Ting 2. It is a effectively an analog mechanical keyboard. So it's a linear style switch. There's no clicking, but it has um, it uses a set of mirrors and a infrared laser to judge distance, which means that you can use your keyboard both as a Xbox controller clone, which is kind of cool, and you have linear feedback through the switches, or you can also use it for a number of other features like having multiple key presses per action, so you can half press for one key, but then full press for another. You can also remap the entire keyboard so you and have different functions, so that could be useful for you. It's just a really cool keyboard. It's not horrendously expensive for being an like really impressive thing. With that said, in terms of the a more standard mechanical keyboard, like Chris says, the K95 Platinum V2 or whatever is quite an expensive keyboard. It does have macro keys, and personally, I am a massive fan of Cherry MX Browns. They are not as loud as Blues, but they do still have a tactile bump to them, so that you get a really nice typing experience for me personally. Ryan loves the Cherry MX speed switches, which fair play, not my personal taste. I don't like reds, so I don't like speeds. But each to their own. Harry says the K70 Mark II. Does that one have macro keys? Oh, it does have that. It does have 6 macro keys. I think so. Yeah, that could also be an option as well. That's a lot cheaper. Ba 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 ba. Campbell. No worries. I'm torn between a Strix X570F and X570 RS Pro. Thoughts? 250 squid budget. So my experience with Asus versus Gigabyte motherboards is Asus tends to sell more. Trust me. But my personal, like, I've had Asus motherboards in my PCs for 8 years. Until I switched to a Gigabyte one, and the Gigabyte one has had so much less, like so few issues by comparison. Whether it's instability, whether it's it not liking my RAM and I need to pull it out and swap it over, like exact same CPU, different motherboard, very different outcomes. So personally, while Asus's BIOSes are nicer and a bit easier to work with, Gigabyte's user experience for me personally tends to be better. With that said, ASRock do some fantastic boards as well. I can't remember if they do an X570 Steel Legend board, but that might be a good compromise for the price. And they're just really, really good for the money generally. There is an X570 Steel Legend. Cool. How do you manage to clean the dust on your PC fixed to your desk, the wooden one? I don't. I take it out every couple years and upgrade it and clean it then. Yeah, I mean, I do have some dust filter, magnetic dust filters that I do want to cut down and add. But it's honestly not a massive problem. There does not tend to be a lot of dust in here. Um, so it doesn't tend to be a big problem for me personally. No worries. Also, yeah. Hey Ryan, how you doing? How's things? How are you? Are you already on your week off? Or are you still here? Are you still working away? By the way, if you don't know Ryan, go check out his channel. He's awesome. He's also a NHS nurse and is just a cool guy. So yeah, check him out. All good, just home, bro. Last day tomorrow. Ah, right, okay. Then enjoy that time off. Um, get cracking on those videos. How close are you to 100k? Have you hit it yet? I haven't checked in a day. Ivan, I'm an architecture student. Found this PC. Could you tell me what you think? It's an MSI GL65, the 9750H, GTX 1660 Ti, and 32 gig of RAM, 512 gig SSD. Nice. Can you just quickly tell me what that price, what the price for that system, for that laptop is? The only reason I ask is because I have a laptop coming from, ironically, ASUS, who have, where is it? What email did he send to me on ASUS? That one. It's the ASUS Tough Gaming A15, which has a Ryzen 4000 series CPU and an RTX 2060. Honestly, for the price that you're probably looking at, this is probably more expensive. Let's see. That's last gen Ryzen. Oh, okay, that's all they have. Awesome. So the fourth gen Ryzen one isn't available yet, it seems. Yeah. Was 90k last update? Fair. You'll hit 100k in no time, man. I assume that's 1,116. Yeah. So yeah. So I think the main so it's not a bad laptop. I've checked out a very similar one, and it is it is a decent machine. The one thing that I would note is that specifically because you say you're an architecture student, as far as I'm aware, architectural design software tends to be fairly CPU intensive. And so with the Ryzen 4000 series CPUs that are coming in laptops fairly shortly, I'm hoping another month or two, you will see a significant performance improvement there. And so that could be a better better option for you long term. With that said, like I said, it's still not a bad laptop. In fact, it's a pretty decent one. Yeah, just if you can find a Ryzen 4000 series laptop, then that could be a better option. Hooded Wu Ting 2. So yeah, it's Wu Ting, like WOOTING 2, which is the fairly interesting one. I did a video on it if you want to check that out as well. Yeah. Does anyone have a 3D printer? I'm looking for a cheap one to print a couple of rack mount trays for my server. Is the Ender 3 good? 170 £4 on eBay. So I've seen very good things about the Ender printers. How big of a print bed do you need? Choco Cake, hi, how you doing? I like chocolate cake too. Just joined. Building our first PC. What is the best PC building video tips that PC building videos / tips you can give? I hope that's my video link. So yeah, I have a number of videos showing you sort of how to build systems specifically. The main thing is, as long as your parts are compatible, the main thing is take it slow. Make sure you are certain about what you're doing. So for example, the CPU can be, there is a wrong way to do that one. I mean, there's kind of a wrong way to do everything, but if you wreck your CPU, that's quite an expensive oopsie. So if you've got a Ryzen CPU you're planning on using, make sure that you match the little gold triangle to the grey triangle that's on the socket. And just gently place it in. It doesn't need any force to go in. It should just sort of drop into place as long as you've lined it up right. If you're using an Intel CPU, then the same applies. Make sure you have that gold triangle with the gold triangle on the board and on the socket cover, because if you put it the wrong way round, when you go to shut the cover, it will snap your CPU in half. So yeah, maybe don't do that one. Other than that, yeah, just take it easy. Make sure that you ground yourself, whether that's by an anti-static strap or whether that's by touching the case regularly. Cable management will be a pain. You'll work it out, but it will be a pain. Yeah, take it easy, enjoy yourself. Oh, and your CPU cooler. Make sure you remove the sticker that's on the bottom of the CPU cooler, if there is one, before you put thermal paste on and put it on, because a number of people, including myself, have forgotten to take that off, and it's been terrible and burns everything. Ryan, his YouTube channel is his name, Beginner's Tech. I think you can click on his name in the chat as well. Zritz, sure. What gaming PC problem do you have? Luca, that is very true. What's the difference between 8GB of 3200 MHz CL17 or 16GB of 3200 MHz CL17 and 2933 or 3000 CL15? So the two numbers that you're looking at there are the effectively clock speed and the cast latency. That's what CL stands for. So there is a relationship between those two numbers. The simple answer is you want to maximize the biggest frequency and the smallest latency. So especially if you have a Ryzen 4000 series. In fact, Patriot sent me over a couple of bits, including some RAM. So what's the cast latency on this kit? I can't remember. 16? Let me have a quick look. CL17. Right. So this RAM kit is a 3600 MHz CL17 kit, which is actually pretty decent. You could get a CL16 at this speed and that would be better, but the long story short is you want to get the biggest number possible on the frequency and the smallest number possible on the cache latency. To answer your specific question, what is the difference between the two? The difference between the two is the 3200 MHz RAM will probably be ever so slightly faster, and by only a tiny margin, just because you've got a almost 3000 MHz gap on the clock speed, but only a cast latency 2 difference. So that would be my rough, but honestly they're probably the same. And so if you did go with 2933, you maximize compatibility on older CPUs, and you probably are paying a bit less money. So honestly, get that kit instead. And what RAM is that? That is the Patriot, I want to say Viper. Oh yeah, Viper RGB. I also have their Gen 4 SSD, which is in a nice fancy box with a magnetic door. So yeah, I'll be checking this out at some point. Ultra power for mega results. Can you tell this is an American company? Yeah, so that will be good. Ba 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 ba. Thank you. Hello from Mexico. Nice. Hello. And no worries. Hope that is helpful. Now watch me Reebok stuff. Badly. I have an RX 580 a gig, and every time I game and sometimes when I search web, it turns to a black screen. That's not fantastic. Have you updated your graphics driver recently? Because I have heard that AMD does have occasional black screen issues with their drivers, and yeah, if you just make sure you're up to date. There is also a beta driver that's out at the moment. I think it's like 20.4 something. That might also help as well. Campbell, yes it is. I updated the drivers. It's a new problem, I think. So then you can also try going to older versions. So you can, on AMD's website, when you go to search for drivers, you can just click older driver versions and find a couple of driver versions back and try that and see if that helps. 3D printing newbie, sorry to post again. No worries, that's what we're here for. I don't want to waste a lot of money. What would you recommend for a reasonably priced RTX 2080 Ti? I was looking at Palette Gaming OC, and Ish says reasonably priced and 2080 Ti in the same sentence. How about least expensive or cheaper or something? /s. Nice, haha. So yes, RTX 2080 Ti's are not the most budget of cards. I think Zotac still do a really good card. The one that's in the PC that is normally there but is currently upstairs because filming. That Zotac card is pretty decent. Yes, Ezrit, you can use a tool called DDU, or actually AMD now includes a wiping tool in the driver, so you could use that as well. Yeah. Hello app, how you doing? What was I saying? Oh, so yeah, the Zotac one is probably a good shout. I don't know pricing of 2080 Ti's off the top of my head. Let me check. God, they're expensive, aren't they? So yeah, Zotac do one, a triple fan one that's 1,100 compared to 1,400 from EVGA. MSI do a twin fan one, although I think I would probably prefer Zotac's amp version. Yeah, Gigabyte also do a triple fan one, which could be decent. Actually, Gigabyte, I want to say, and so Zotac is the cheapest at 1,100 versus 1,200 for the palette card. So yeah, I'd probably go the Zotac one. I'll are you in the UK, 3D printing newbie? Where's the Zotac one? There it is. No worries, actually. So we've been doing 8 p.m. for quite a while. So unfortunately, that's what works for some other people as well. But it's great having you here, and hopefully you can check in at some point soon. TechteamGB, I sent you a link to the amp card, so you can check that out. True, you can do that, but you can also just turn up a few minutes late, like you always do. WAP. Honestly, I'm not sure. My expectation is that it's been pushed back because everything has, but yeah. That's definitely not bad-ish, although a 3-for-1 return rate. That's a 33% return rate. That's fairly high. Porto, you want to buy a new 248 monitor? Nice. Do you have any ones in mind? 3 is a good sample size, obviously. Ralvin Boss, should I go for a GTX 1060 with a 9400F? So yeah, I mean, for those kind of prices, a Ryzen 3600 is probably going to be a better shout. And then you'll likely save a bit of money, I think. I mean, you can go a B450 board, which is about £100, 100 and what was it, 180 for the 3600 non-X. So yeah. Cameron, is the B450 RS Pro a good board? So for basically any of the mid-range chips, yes. It doesn't have the absolute strongest VRM setup, so if if you want to use the 16 core on it, probably not. But for even the 8 cores that I tested with at the time, it held up fine. So yeah. So you just go to the website itself and select previous driver versions. Should I wait for the Intel 1070-100K or go with the Ryzen 3700, 3800X? So personally, I would go with 3800. I don't currently know anything about Intel's next launch. I know that it's happening, but I don't know anything about it expressly. I also, so realistically, are you willing to wait for another sub a month, I think? Because if you're willing to wait for that, then you can see benchmarks of the chip. I mean, I suppose if you're talking about waiting for that, then yeah. But my other mention would be, if you do go with the sort of Ryzen platform, you do have a full another generation of backwards compatibility built onto the board. With that said, oh, I can't talk about that yet. Yikes. All right, can't say anything more. Sorry, NDAs. What 200 Hz monitor do you recommend me? I checked out an Acer one relatively recently that I think was pretty decent. I want to say it was the XF A25Q. That's probably wrong. But the Acer one that I checked out relatively recently is probably a good option for you. I think in terms of both price and performance, I think it wasn't too bad. Stoke, should I keep my GTX 980 with a 3570K or upgrade to a Ryzen 3600 with a 1660 Ti? So I would probably do the Ryzen upgrade, but keep your old graphics card, and then do a sort of bigger graphics card upgrade later, unless you specifically have to get rid of both. You know, you're going to sell that entire system, or whatever, because I don't think that a 1660 Ti is, well, as it says, I don't think that it's um let's say significantly better than a 980. Um, so yeah. What would you call an overpriced PC? Now is that a pun or is that a genuine question? Jay, is the ROG Strix B450 Gaming F okay for the Ryzen 3700? Because I have that board with a 2600X and want to upgrade. So yes, that's fine. Make sure you do a BIOS update on the board with your 2600 still in it before you put a new chip in. But other than that, yeah, that should be plenty fine. Obviously the 3700X is only 8 cores, and B450 boards were specifically designed for you know, that platform in mind. So yeah. Hello Vibe, how you doing? Keaton, so it really depends on the parts themselves. Because the you can, you know, you could pay, I don't know, £200 for a PC, but it's a Dell Optiplex with no graphics card. If it's being sold as a gaming PC for £300, that's an overpriced PC. But at the same time, you can also pay, I don't know, £3,000 for a PC and be getting your money's worth. Fair play, fair play, Ryan. I only just saw your comment. Um, so yeah, it really depends on the parts themselves and its sale price, rather than just having a you know, a one size fits all um answer there. Hello Starman, how you doing? How's things? Hope you're reasonably safe and well. Coping with lockdown, not seriously overclocked. No, I'm alright. I mean, like I said before, not much really changed for me. Um, you know, I can't see as many friends and I can't go out as much, but other than that, yeah, not much changed. Um, hey, is 5 milliseconds for an IPS monitor worth it? So I assume you're talking about the panel's response time. Is that 5 milliseconds listed or is that 5 milliseconds tested? I mean, the long story short is that yes, it's still fine, but yeah. Is buying a used 1080 Ti okay because it's cheaper than a 2070 Super and offers better performance, I believe? Yes, yes, it is. I mean, if you can be a little careful with getting the one that's not been overly used, and specifically one that's not just been exclusively mined on, that's good. But like for example, I'm using a 1080 Ti right now. It is a pretty old card and is a review sample, so it's been through a number of hands and therefore is very well used, and I have no problems with it. So yes is the short answer. Tested, so then in that case, yes, that's really pretty decent for an IPS monitor. Yes. So the monitor manufacturers, when they can't get 1 millisecond gray to gray, they quote 1 millisecond moving picture response time, MPRT, which is great. I wonder how many realize where the tube in the site's name comes from. Yeah. But what, pray tell, were the used cards you got? That is the question mark. What CPU for 1080 I was thinking 3700X or maybe a 9700K. So yeah, like I said, sorry noise. Again, the 3700X is still a decent chip. I actually have a 2700 non-X here, and I have a very good gaming experience and also pretty decent productivity experience. I think I will probably pick up a 3950X at some point in the next year or so, because video editing life, and also once the 4th gen chips come out, they should be cheaper. But other than that, I'm fairly content, really. Can a GTX 1060 6GB still handle in 2020? Especially at 1080p, yeah. You might be on medium to high settings instead of ultra, but yeah. Pretty much Dan, yeah. That's for next year, so it's fine. Is the 3700X worth the price over 3600 and 3600X? So in terms of raw gaming performance, I don't think there's a massive difference there. Obviously, you do get some extra cores, which lends itself to sort of longer durability. But you said you had a 2600X right now, so a 3600X would be a pretty decent upgrade in terms of especially 1080p gaming performance. And then obviously pairing that with a 1080 Ti is again a pretty sizable upgrade as well. So yeah. I had the 2700X, so just upgraded to 3900X. Nice one. How's that going? MSI B450 Pro Carbon with 3700X. Yeah. Seems like a decent option. Ever noticed any overdrive issues on budget Acer monitors? I don't think I've tested any budget Acer monitors in a little while, so I can't tell you, I'm afraid. I have an RX 588 gig. I mean, that's certainly not a bad card, but a 1080 Ti would definitely be a good upgrade. In terms of HS35 versus HS50, the HS50s are a nicer set of headphones. They do have a bit better build quality to them. And I think a little bit better sound quality as well. So I would say it's worth the upgrade there. What's a good Wi-Fi card to use in a gaming PC? Honestly, any of the like dual area ones is probably fine. I think TP-Link tend to do pretty decent budget options. Nah, just actual Ethernet. Going also far was surprised at the boost in video encoding. Nice. Yeah, I mean those extra cores and what you call it? The extra cores and IPC clock speed improvements are all pretty decent. I have a GTX 980 Founders Edition and want to ask if it's cooled enough. I don't know, what's the temperature like when you're gaming? Open back or closed headphones for gaming and some music, and what sound card? Was it? It wasn't you that was asking about the HS50s, right? Not getting that mixed up. No, that was Chris. So Dan will tell you open back. Honestly, I do really like the come out. These Audio-Technica ATH G1WLs. They actually are wireless, so you technically don't need a sound card for it. and they sound really nice. They're really comfortable, pretty decent battery life, and pretty decent mic overall as well. But if you are a more discerning listener, then yeah, amp DAC, and yeah, HT650, something like that will give you a better sound experience overall. In terms of sound cards, I think the Sound Blaster G6, I have one over there. It's plugged in. Is a very good option for both budget and quality. Ethernet is hard to share, right? Yes, I mean you don't necessarily have to, like, you can run Ethernet to your PC, and that doesn't stop the Wi-Fi working in the house. The shit audio Fuller is a good DAC for $99. That is true. They promised me sending them one, but things got crazy and they haven't got back to me. So that is not unacceptably hot. I mean, my GPU runs my GPU runs at 83 to 84 degrees Celsius while gaming, so gives you some context. But about 80 degrees is pretty much the temperature target for the NVIDIA graphics cards. I would love to if I can get a hand on one. Well, if I get them, then you could just have one. Well, maybe you can pay me for it. Do you think Wi-Fi's extenders are good? I'm using Ethernet Netgear for gaming. No, Wi-Fi extenders are terrible, especially for gaming. So the reason for that is that extenders only repeat the signal, and so you get sort of doubled latency. Plus, as WAP says, instability is a very big thing with those. They are terribly unstable. So, yeah, no, definitely not. You can use power line adapters. You can run Ethernet directly, or you can run Ethernet to somewhere in the house and then have a wireless access point to that. Yeah. I actually had a tech support phone call today from my father who was asking what the admin password for the Wi-Fi repeater they have. Jay, so ultra wide is a hands down a better experience for gaming and even for content consumption to a degree. 16:9 is more standard. If I could have a reasonable ultra wide in my collection of monitors I have here, I would, and I would game on it. I'm just not sure that I know of an ultra wide that I would like enough to keep as my main display. Maybe that AOC one actually, the CU34 G2X. Is it worth saving money for a GTX 1660 over 1060? So that's what you already have, right? Yeah, Dan, you mean Ethernet over power, aka power line. Power over Ethernet is a different thing. Power over Ethernet is sending power over an Ethernet cable, which is what my Ubiquiti security cameras use, and what voice VoIP handsets use. Fair play, Isaac. Relevant. Off the top of my head, probably not quite. I would probably go 1660 Ti or higher. That would be a lot, like a lot of Ethernet cables. Because like I think the max my switch can output, my PoE switch is 150 watts, so I would need all 8 ports there plus probably another of those switches as a power supply. Yeah. Anyway, with that insanity, I'll catch you guys next week. I hope you stay safe. I hope you can make use of the time if you're off, and I hope that the time goes by quickly if you're still not off. And yeah, have a great week. And we will see you next week. You stay safe, Ryan. You're the like one in danger here. Also, go subscribe to Ryan. He's awesome. Cool. Catch you guys next week. See ya.